Trump's new Threaten Doctors' Lives, Win Valuable Prizes fund is open to anti-abortion terrorists, and we have the deets.
Just this week, 2 pregnant women were tortured by the carceral system in 2 different ways.
We examine these 2 cases and talk about the long history of pregnancy harm done at the hands of our criminal no justice system.
Plus, Viagra could solve menstrual pain? Yes,
But indeed. Jesus, wait till you hear this. So, it's all coming up on the Feminist Buzzkills podcast, the show that was in the running to replace Colbert solely so they could cancel us.
We're going to get canceled anyway, Liz.
I mean, for real, it is true. I'm Liz Winstead. Those are the lilting tones of my co-host, Moji Alawode-El.
Hello. Everything's coming up. But speaking of Colbert, Liz, I watched the show last night, the final show, and I was excited to hear your thoughts.
The whole thing is super weird because, you know, final shows have a lot of pressure on them. And for me, like, I really wondered how I was going to feel when I watched it. Not because I just think Stephen Colbert is great and that show is great and the disservice that the Trump administration and all of the corporate henchmen that pushed him out did. But it's also for me, you know, I got to hire Colbert on The Daily Show. I got to watch his career go. And I think my emotional place was knowing what a good guy he is and watching the end of an era of something or of a person who I put into this genre. I didn't give him his start in comedy. I helped put him into this genre that he helped change the face of. So I felt, you know, bittersweet about it. You know, I guess if I would have crafted the last show, I guess I for my own personal self, the last week was really indicative of who he was. And I don't know that the last, I think he had all of his favorites on, which do it. Amazing. He loves Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
Do it. I'm glad that I was really, really into watching the last weeks of it so that he could showcase the people who are never showcased, his staff and his family and all of the people who are instrumental to doing it, because there is nobody who is better to his crew than Stephen Colbert. I just feel really sad we're losing a voice gone. And it's not being replaced by another good voice. It's being replaced by the most uncontroversial, uninspired hour of television that you'll ever watch. It's literally stand-up comedians doing their act, sitting down, pretending they're having a conversation. It is so bad.
I didn't much watch the show, but I haven't found myself watching it the last few weeks. And I did watch the Colbert Report forever ago. I have a kid, Liz. I go to bed too early for a late show. Late. I'm in bed by 9 o'clock. But I will agree, he was such a warm interviewer. Yeah. And you can tell the people who came by genuinely like him and are friends and have an intimacy with him. So that was a beautiful thing to watch in the end. And also just the circumstances around this is such a shit show. And I was sparked to go because, Liz, you went last week to see the show in person.
Yeah, I did. And, you know, it's kind of a humble brag, but it's also a story to tell just that's indicative of Colbert, right? So just emailed him, got tickets. And when I got there, you know, we sat and we were really close up. And I was like, that's weird. And when he came out to do the monologue, he blew me a kiss. And I was like, oh, that's really nice. And then I was kind of looking around as that for somebody else. And then during the commercial break, he came down from the stage and gave me a big hug. And then we talked afterwards. And Stephanie said, you know, take a picture behind the desk.
It's a very cool picture.
You were a small part of this, you know, in the beginning. And I was like, I was no part of this amazing show, but thank you for saying that. So, you know, that was really fun. So I wish good things for him. I also, you know, I went back and I wrote an article for Rolling Stone when the decision to cancel him happened. And I went back and read it, and it really does solidify my rage, about they come for the comedians first, but 2, those of us who've been doing political comedy for a real long time who are not privileged white dudes have experienced having to crawl for any kind of stage time, not getting booked, being canceled over and over again. And so we have succeeded in spite of that. And when it finally comes for those guys, are we too far gone?
I think so.
You know, I don't think we can ever rely on the networks to promote anything. We should never.
I thought that actually watching the finale, there was one point where they had the 5 of the biggest late night hosts right now. And I was like, oh, 3 came from SNL, 2 came from The Daily Show, all cis white men.
Yeah. All of them.
That's it. That's all of them. I was like, oh, wow, this is not diverse at all. And yeah, that was interesting.
It's kind of like People's Sexiest Man Alive is always a famous guy from Hollywood. And it's like, there's a lot of people in the world who are not, who might be sexier.
These guys were with women and people of color who were equally talented, if not more so. And it's interesting that those are the 5 that are hosting late night.
Yeah. I mean, it just is, it's indicative of a lot of stuff. But I wish the best for him and his team and his crew. I feel like let this be a reminder that we need to support podcasts like ours, independent journalism, independent media, independent comedy. Pay attention to YouTube, pay attention to people's Substacks, pay attention to all of the ways that people are bringing you the truth and their humor that's just full of the righteous indignation that we need, because that's how we save our democracy. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. 100% agree.
That's right. And speaking of saving our democracy, we're going into a 3-day weekend on Memorial Day, which is honoring people who died defending democracy.
Defending the democracy, specifically in this country. Defending democracy in this country.
Right. And Memorial Day didn't just pop out of nowhere, Moji, did it?
No, it didn't. And actually, you think we were talking about this earlier this week. In America, you look left, you look right. If it wasn't started by Black people, it was stolen from Black people.
What they don't teach us in history or race is wild. So Memorial Day started in May of 1865 when hundreds of dead Union soldiers were dropped in a racetrack in Charleston, South Carolina, and former slaves and some white missionaries decided they were going to honor the dead. They put up a fence, they buried them, they grew poppies, and then had poppies that were indicating the graves in memorial, which is why you have poppies on Memorial Day. And again, it was Black folks who started and commemorated those who fought for our freedom. And that story is never told. So it's not just about barbecues and 3-day weekends when you're going to a Memorial Day something. Tell people the story of how even Memorial Day is stolen history from Black folks.
And it's not about Confederates either, because I do feel like the Southerners be trying to both sides of this. It was about Union soldiers who were not honored properly.
Exactly. And so happy Memorial Day, and have some Black history with your celebration of those who fought and died for us. Whoa, that was a lot.
Godspeed.
Godspeed, Stephen Colbert. Godspeed, everybody. We're about to dive in hard, but before we do, we have a lot to tell you about what is going on with AAF and what your Buzzkills are doing to help fight back against this current assault we keep hammering on when it comes to medication abortion.
Last week, we introduced a new campaign we're working on to fight back against these latest assaults on mifepristone. You watch the news, you know they're happening. In addition to trying to impose a national ban on sending abortion pills through the mail, which fortunately SCOTUS put on hold for now, the FDA is also reviewing a ridiculous debunked junk science study, and they're going to use it to decide the fate of Miffy. Not just whether to mail it, but whether it will even be available at all, whether they'll revoke all approvals and just yank it off the market.
So this is terrible, and we want everyone to be able to participate in saving it. So in order to make a huge splash to counter all the information in this fake study, AAF is partnering with We Testify, Shout Your Abortion, Ultraviolet, and a bunch of other amazing orgs to collect thousands of medication abortion stories. So here's what we're doing. We're asking anyone who feels comfortable, who's used mifepristone during the past 26 years it's been on the market, to share their experience. You can anonymously submit your story in a really simple form that we've created at miffystories.com.
Our goal is to deliver to the FBA real life experiences from people who've had medication abortions, and we need that to drown out the misinformation in this fake study. So we've started getting stories in, and they are so beautiful.
They are.
So we decided that each week during this campaign, it would be great to just read one of them on the pod. This week, we're featuring Lizzie. And Liz, since you are also a Liz, maybe you want to start this one off.
I'm happy to share Lizzie's story. So I'm Lizzie. I had a medication abortion in Illinois in 2022. I found out I was pregnant when I noticed physical signs that might indicate pregnancy, and my first thought was, I cannot have a child at this time in my life.
I decided to have a medication abortion because I wanted to feel as comfortable as possible in my own home with my partner there. I got my abortion pills through telehealth. From start to finish, the process was liberating. I took the pills at home, and I felt that my future was my own again. What surprised me most was it was simple, and I felt no stigma.
Because I had access to medication abortion, I was able to continue with my career, pay off my student loans, and determine the trajectory of my life. I felt a new sense of purpose and conviction that I would do everything in my power to help anyone seeking an abortion to get one.
I'm sharing my story because my aunt had to cross a picket line in Alabama to get her life-saving abortion. 30 years later, I was able to have an abortion safely and without harassment. It is a personal decision, and no one should have to justify their right to make the best choice for their future simply because a politician or Sam Alito decides otherwise.
Medication abortion gave me back my future. Isn't that pretty?
It's such
Just
a pretty
so
story.
nice.
Oh,
I know.
thank you, Lizzie. So people, if you are inspired, and you should be, go head over to miffystories.com. Read what's come in so far and submit your story. The form has simple prompts to guide your storytelling, and it doesn't require your email, and we won't collect your data, so your privacy is fully protected.
That's right. It's brave and it's meaningful, and you could help protect abortion access to these pills simply by sharing your own story. So do it.
Get on it. It's worth it. It's fun.
But these stories, we are like going full hog in, right? It's just the beginning. And this week, I love our group so much because if you follow more than just the Buzzkills, you follow Abortion Access Front also, you know that Abortion AF will do literally anything to let folks know just how great mifepristone is.
We are a pro-pill pod.
We are. And over the past year, we have been working really hard, and we created the first ever all abortion pill pop group. Literally.
I love us.
I do too. They're called Miffy and the Misotones, and they just debuted I'm Just a Pill, their first single and video, and it is a bop. So it's like, if you're thinking I'm just a pill, yes, it's I'm Just a Bill. It's kind of a reboot of I'm Just a Bill. It's that song, but we made it about abortion because why not make everything about abortion?
Everything is about abortion, Liz.
I know. And Moji is one of our pills, which is really fun. And Dukes and Kristen and so many people that you have heard on the pod or are on the pod.
Also, Tina Slieski, who we love. She sings the song. She has an incredible voice, and it's such a treat to have her. And the costumes were made by Sabine. And Sabine is a designer at RuPaul's Drag Race. So you've also seen their work.
Yeah, you go to our socials, watch the video, like, share, do it. Let's get it going, because I think there's so many ways to talk about abortion, and you never know what way is going to resonate with people. And so we thought, why not sing about the safety and efficacy of abortion?
Why not drop a sick beat? Why not?
Why not? Isn't that what we need right now in this moment? A sick beat, a party? I feel like it's true. So watch the video, share the video, book them for your graduation party. Then head to justapill.com, and you can go. We have a great we have a great fan site for the pill, so you can just go over there and fangirl even more, and then learn all about how rad abortion pills really are. I think it's amazing.
And in more cool news, your Buzzkills are ranked 8th in the top 30 abortion pods. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're number 8. This sounds like a fantastic place to be, but just so you know, 8 of the top 10 pods happen to be anti-abortion pods, and also extremely well-funded, which that ain't us.
That is so annoying. Like, horrible people who we've literally, this guy, Seth Gruber, who we've featured a lot in our Show Your Whole Ass segment, and, National Right to Life and Priest for Life. And it's really a bummer that in the podosphere, 8 of the top 10 podcasts about abortion are from the anti-abortion standpoint. It's terrible. But also, you know what that means? They have a lot of money. They can do that. So drum roll, pull out your wallets, because if you want your Buzzkills to be the number 1 abortion podcast,
and we want that,
we totally do, then I think that you might want to join our Patreon.
Oh, hell yeah. You should join our Patreon. You know what you're missing because you're not on our Patreon? You're missing a Patreon birthday shout out, you know?
That's
You could
right.
have one of those if you were on a
We don't
Patreon.
have any May birthdays at all. That could be you. Don't you want you to be the May birthday so we could say,
Give you and us a gift of supporting the pod for May so we can sing your praises in your birth month because you're a member of our Patreon. If you aren't already a Patreon member, sign up. There's the birthday shout out we spoke of. You'll also support great content and get cool FBK merch and experiences.
That's right. On all pledges, not only support the pod, they also support all of our activism at Abortion Access Front. So you can pay for more costumes, for more video editing, for new abortion pill videos, you know.
More Q pills, more songs.
We do so much work at Abortion Access Front. And this pod is one of the only few that are out there just telling you the truth. So I feel like you should be donating. You can go to patreon.com/feministbuzzkills. Do it.
And when Liz is talking about all of the other work we do at AAF, one of the things that we love to feature is our Adopt a Clinic.
I love this program so much. Adopt a Clinic is a great way for anyone in the public to support either independent clinics or abortion funds, escort groups, or patients directly by ordering much needed items from their wish lists.
This week, we're showcasing the Purple Period Pantry. I love a little bit of alliteration.
I do too.
They're a bold, community-powered initiative, and they're transforming how Charleston, West Virginia shows up for those who menstruate. So we'll be linking the Women's Health Center of West Virginia's wish list, and that includes tons of period products that will be distributed for free through these pantries. The link is in the show notes.
And we've got some period news coming up in a hot minute. And I think that's a nice segue into getting to a steaming jump of this week's abortion news. What do you think, Moj?
Yeah, let's do it, Liz.
Okay, dokie. I'm going to kick it off because Texas, fuck you. Oh my God, again.
It always feels like a treat when we get to not talk about Texas, but here we are back on brand.
I feel like there's 49 other states really kind of doing some shitty things, but then it's like, which story's the worst? Oh, Texas. So here's something that I learned this week about Texas. So the largest children's hospital is in Houston, Texas. Did not know that. And this week, they announced that they've settled a lawsuit brought against them by Texas AG and angriest hobbit in the Shire, Attorney General Ken Paxton, and the Department of Justice. Why are they settling a lawsuit with them? Because they had the shit suit out of them for the crime of helping trans kids get gender affirming care.
Liz has made me mad enough to spit. This is such a destructive settlement. This is a shit sandwich in the settlement. It included firing 5 doctors who provided trans care, paying a $10 million fine to the state of Texas for supposed improper billing to Medicaid for the services. And this is when my panties got in a bunch, they have to create America's first ever fully funded detransitioning clinic that offers this detransitioning service for free for 5 years, Liz. 5 years.
And service is really air quoted all over the place. It is such garbage. There's a reason it's the first and only because it is not needed. And we're going to get to that in a minute. But before we kind of break down just how shitty this is, I think it's important to note that the hospital has issued statements saying that they think this whole thing is BS and they want to provide this care. But according to their statement, the state of Texas was just going to literally hemorrhage them to pay tons and tons and tons and tons of money into lawsuits to where they probably wouldn't have even remained open. So they were like, fuck it, we have to settle this so we can get back to spending the pennies we have left on actual care.
I want to circle us back to that detransitioning.
That fake thing.
Because detransitioning is not a thing. It is not healthcare. And statistically, it's not even a thing that happens. They're probably not going to see any patients in the 5 years. Maybe 5, if they're lucky.
I mean, maybe. And to think that Texas could have spent all of this time and all of this money paying for actual healthcare, but instead, they apparently think that detransitioning is the real Texas value. The politicians do not represent the people.
As a reminder of how trash this man is, last year, the AG, Ken Paxton, his wife filed for a biblical divorce from him because his gender-affirming care involved weenie handling from a woman who is not his wife. And he was, of course, just endorsed by the president of the United States in the Texas Senate race. So yay.
I know. And I would wager that Trump endorsed him because of, not in spite of, said marital gendering affirming care.
Liz, I'll take that bet and I'm going to place it on Polymarket.
Yes, that's fair. I might too.
But first, more misandry affirming care news. Kate Downey, host of Cramped, the podcast about all things period, has unearthed a 2011 Viagra study. And in that study, they found in initial trials that Viagra, that drug, reduced menstrual cramps by over 75%. That sounds incredible. The researchers looked at that fact and decided to not look any further.
Why?
Good question, Liz.
Is menstrual pain DEI? DEIUD?
Possibly.
Literally, it's just come to, if cis men aren't going through it, it doesn't exist. It just doesn't exist.
Unless they need something, right? Remember all the fucking attention they put to addressing these pussy-ass men's pain when they were developing a male birth control. We deal with pain. Men get pain-free birth control. I'm still mad about it. I won't ever not be mad about it.
Moji, I now just firmly believe that the only way women are going to have any medical breakthroughs is if they invent something that helps men somehow, and there's a weird side effect to it that helps women, then we'll be able to use it. So literally, this is what we can hope for. We can hope that somehow male birth control has some happy accidental side value that is also a cramp reliever, and that it's distributed through sperm so that anytime a guy unloads, you can have a little bit of menstrual cramp relief. That is where I believe we are at, and that is a sad statement. Please don't write me. I know it's terrible. It's like,
I don't believe you're proposing fucking men. I mean,
gross. Maybe fair.
Maybe we need a pill that prevents us from doing that, Liz, if you're developing things.
I don't think we need a pill that prevents us from doing men. I feel like just go on Tinder, scroll through a couple, and then you'll realize you'll just want to throw your phone, get your magic wand, and you're good. No side effects. That's the bonus. No side effects.
And in other fuck prevention news, Iowa's governor signed a law this week restricting access to abortion pills and HPV vaccines. So when it comes to restricting abortion access, the law now requires a clinic visit for patients to get pills. Sure, that sounds fully unreasonable. And the politicians claim that this minimizes black market abortion pills from sneaking their way into Iowa.
You know what? Kim, governor, is there a bill to minimize black market sedatives to drug your wife? No? Then go fuck yourself. Moji, I can't take it. I can't take it anymore. I cannot take the fact that every single day there is some bill trying to ban medication abortion from coming into the state and harming women, and zero bills about the black market sedatives or whatever the fuck men are using to order up on the internet to drug and rape their wives. And until there's bills that do that, I am going to bring up the fact that where is that bill every single time an abortion ban is introduced? I can't take it.
You and I, anyone who listens to this knows that this is all a part of their evil scheme. I mean, how convenient that since Roe fell, they've shuttered so many actual clinics in Iowa. Actually, at this moment, 3 remain. 3 remain in a very rural state.
3. I mean, it is. It's all part of their I'm not a doctor evil scheme. I mean, and then the HPV law, which is just like shows the stupidity of people. So the HPV part of this bill restricts minors from getting the HPV vaccine until they're 18.
Too late.
The whole point of this vaccine is to give it to young people before they're sexually active because it's been proved to decrease cancer rates when administered before 17. So what the fuck are you doing giving it to them after the efficacy part? That's insane. That's like saying, you know what? Don't brush your teeth until you find out you've got some cavities.
That's like saying, oh, how about you just keep smoking? Just keep smoking until you actually develop cancer. Don't wait. Don't try to prevent it. Just keep smoking.
Yeah, you know, you're not going to get cancer till you get cancer. So who knows?
It is so infuriating. Liz, while we're out here talking about harm reduction, these fuckers are out here perfecting a harm production program.
Literally. I mean, I think that they're just out here pitching it in the well of their state senates, being like, in order to produce maximum harm production, we need to block birth control, block vaccines, abortion, medication abortion, sex education, all in favor, say aye.
Nay, reclaiming my time.
I mean, seriously, what is even happening? It's all so awful. I think we should just let's take a deep breath. Deep breathe in, Moji. Exhale, Moji. Because we're going to transition to a story that had both of us so piping hot mad this week. That is sort of the epitome of harm production that happens when folks are giving birth. Take us into this one, Moj.
So I'm going to do a call back to our guest a couple of weeks ago who talked about pregnancy exceptions for people who are having end-of-life care. And it seems that if the state wants to strip us of dignity and death, that's perfectly fine. But if a person happens to be pregnant or in the later states of pregnancy, and they could maybe just give them a ticket, right? But the option to incarcerate is there. They're just going to take it. They're going to take it and they're going to put a woman in jail. And this week we read two horrifying stories of women giving birth in police custody. One woman was in New York and she gave birth while shackled in a Brooklyn courtroom. And an Alabama woman was completely ignored by guards while giving birth in jail. These are heartbreaking stories.
They are. And so when we heard the Brooklyn story, there was a rally that was around the corner from where I live. And I went down to the rally, and a group of public defenders had organized a rally to talk about what is happening when somebody is arrested, detained, incarcerated, awaiting trial, sitting in a courtroom in shackles. And also people are dying in custody. It was like when we got to the rally, they were talking about 3 people who had died in custody. And then in the middle of the rally, somebody was like, a 4th person died this morning. And so the number up to 4. But the story of this woman who had a child in the courtroom is horrifying.
It's really horrifying. They had held her in custody for 24 hours as well. She'd had medical attention. And after they took her to the hospital when they realized she was pregnant, they brought her back to jail. She was 9 months pregnant. By the time she gave birth in the courtroom, she had been sitting in the courtroom for 3 hours with handcuffs on.
They didn't uncuff her. No one assisted her. She couldn't move. She couldn't get comfortable. She literally delivered in her pants.
The judge stayed on the bench. She just sat there. The court reporter stayed on the bench. I think one of the court people came by, but he's not a doctor. By the time EMS got there, she'd had the baby.
And the judge said, isn't this great? A baby was delivered. Like, what are we doing? She was literally detained for trespassing at her own house, being on the roof.
And listen, I understand if maybe that's illegal. Give her a ticket. She's pregnant. Calm down.
That's exactly right. And why was she literally in shackles for a trespassing violation?
I don't get it. I really
don't. I don't
really,
either.
It's fun. It's like it's only questions, right? Like there's no answers to this because there's no reason that anyone deserves this treatment.
No, there is no reason that somebody, the second they say I am in labor, you shouldn't be jumping to that and making sure that person is in a safe place to deliver a baby. Look, I have never been in a room where someone is birthing, but I've seen movies where people are birthing. People are screaming. Like the fact that the physical manifestation of giving birth is happening and everybody can be so detached from this person's well-being, and these fucking shitbag pro-life people who act like, oh, you know what? Everything, you must carry this child and we'll make sure it's okay. And then this is what happens. Fuck you.
Fuck you. I have given birth and been in the room with birthing people. And this level of disdain and disinterest and lack of care is heartbreaking.
It is heartbreaking. And so I came back from the protest and I sit back down at my desk and I open my computer and there is a second story that is parallel in its horror, maybe worse, out of Alabama with a person who was incarcerated who had to give birth.
Oh, the story in Alabama is much worse. It's much worse. This woman was in jail. She screamed for 24 hours while she was in labor in Alabama, and the guards did zilch. They did zilch. So this woman was in jail because of Alabama's chemical endangerment law. Alabama has the most criminalized pregnant people because a lot of it due to this chemical endangerment law, and it was created because of the meth issues they were having in 2006, but it's been repurposed to just criminalize pregnant people who do drugs or they suspect do drugs or they smell drugs around them or whatever.
Or they've said drugs. They've used the word meth in Scrabble.
Exactly.
Like these people are fucking
Wordle. Word of the day was drugs,
right?
And they used and they guessed it in the first time, right?
They are out to get you.
And so again, it's most commonly been used to prosecute pregnant people. So she was in jail, pregnant, 8 months pregnant, because of this law. She'd pled guilty to whatever they charged her with. And when she went into labor, screamed for 24 hours. She was seen by the jail nurse. They gave her a diaper and a Tylenol, which I guess RFK hasn't told them about the autism yet.
Oh.
That was a joke.
No, I'm like, oh, yes.
And the other inmates, the other women in jail with her are who helped her through this ordeal. They helped her. They kissed her. They rubbed her back. They gave her words of encouragement. They caught the baby when it came out. And then when the baby was born, it wasn't breathing. And then they suctioned out the mucus and stuff and helped revive it and keep it warm.
Probably with their own mouths because they don't have any implements. My guess is.
That's what I think. Yeah, I don't even think they have a straw. It was probably with their own mouths. And if you're like, okay, well, she survived it. By the time EMS got there and she went to hospital care, she was anemic. She'd lost so much blood, she had to get blood transfusions and was in medical care for 3 days.
And her baby was in the NICU.
Yeah.
And and she said, I felt like I was an animal. They treated me like an animal, giving birth like an animal. And so let's talk about what happened to all of the women who helped and assist the birth were punished for assisting the birth.
They were in fact punished. And actually one of the guards, because this woman is suing, and one of the guards said, as she was listening to this woman scream, hey, maybe we should call a doctor. And basically she was told that if she went to her assistants, she would lose her job.
Right. And if you're pregnant in the carceral system, first of all, why are we not helping people who are using during their pregnancies to make sure they have the healthiest pregnancy possible? Why are we jailing people who simply need help? Like she needed help. She needs help. So why are we not helping her?
Alabama doesn't believe in help. They believe in jail.
They do.
And they believe in cruelty in jail because the fact that they both prevented a guard and then penalized the people who were the helpers just adds layers and layers on like heartbreak and disgustingness to this.
Well, and we have seen so many stories out of Alabama of pregnant people being criminalized and jailed and horrible things that happen while you're in jail. Remember, there was the woman who was shot while she was pregnant and they blamed her for getting shot
for her miscarriage when she got
while she was and also just abolish the prisons. They're terrible. The way that we do things, it's really terrible. And I feel like the amount of states that still allow the state to just keep pregnant birthing people shackled as they are giving birth, that still exists. Our dear friend and AAF board member, regular podcast guest, Dr. Michelle Goodwin, has written extensively about this. In fact, we did a 2-part podcast that we will link to on what it means to be pregnant and in this system. She wrote a whole book called Policing the Womb that's just utterly fascinating and utterly enraging, just about what that means for people. And shockingly, not shockingly, the people who are the victims most of this system of being pregnant and being criminalized for it are Black and brown women at exponential rates.
And poor women. And then poor women. And I just want to go back, Liz. We were talking about this earlier, how comfortable they are creating laws to ban things like abortion pills. I don't see any laws banning keeping a pregnant woman in a dirty jail, not allowing a pregnant woman who's in labor to have medical care. I don't see any of these politicians who are so concerned about invisible drugs invisibly coming into Iowa really caring about the harms that are performed on behalf of the state in the state.
And Moji, to me, the irony is we don't want to provide services for people to help them thrive in their lives, in their raising of kids, in their having kids and doing that, right? And so we have a system where let's not help people out of poverty. Let's not help people live in safe, affordable housing, having clean water, having safe neighborhoods, but let's go invade where they live, because you've decided someone isn't parenting correctly, and we're going to yank your child away. As RFK said, let's take every Black child away from their parents and put them on a farm.
He wants to reparent Black children.
Right? But the unmitigated gall to we are not helping people thrive. We are not helping families. And then you steal them and you throw them in a jail cell. So they're living in worse squalor. You have helped no one.
You have helped the people who own the jails and only them.
That's right. That's what you have done.
This woman is suing, and she's represented by the heroes at Pregnancy Justice. We love them. They've been on the pod, and they talk about this problem. And so we'll let you know as this story evolves, as we hear more.
And well, you know what? Let's throw a link over to Pregnancy Justice. Throw them some money. They're a nonprofit. They deserve some money. They are taking the cases that are hard. They are seeking out people who wouldn't even know where to start to find representation. They're being proactive in making sure that people who wouldn't know where to go are getting the care they need. And we love them. So we're going to follow this story along too as the updates come. We'll let you know on the pod. But it's just another thing where so much of our life and like the theme of this podcast, if you want to think about it, is like, where the government seems to have money to spend, and then where the government has no money to actually help people, which leads to this next story that is tied into probably the biggest news story of the week. I'm sure you've heard about it. I don't need to go into the details, but I'll give a quick recap that there is now a slush fund that has been created. It's called the Anti-Weaponization Fund. It's a $1.6 billion taxpayer fund.
Wait, it's 1.776.
Oh, yeah, it is $1776 billion because it's a patriotic theft of your tax dollars.
Not seen that note. And then I did one Google and I was like, oh my God, they're so corny.
It's so corny. And people are calling it a settlement for, for Trump sued the IRS for a leak of his confidential tax returns. So he sues the government and then tries to settle with the government so that he can make money off a settlement that he sued himself. The whole thing's fucking crazy. But as the case started going, this $10 million suit, he was getting inklings that like, yeah, you're not going to win. So he's like, okay, I'm going to drop the suit. And then he says, but I want a fund that people are calling a settlement, but it's not. There is a fund that's called like the Freedom Fund or the Liberty Fund. And it's a fund that exists within the IRS where people can sue if they've had wrongful harm from the government, right? So he's yanking this 1.776 billion and creating this fund that people who claim that they have been aggrieved by, he says any administration, but then he says the Biden administration. It's basically anybody who are his cronies that want to sue the government because they've been weaponized.
Listen, if he could get back to the Obama administration, he would add that in there.
Wow, they're there. They're there.
They would just leapfrog past him. Oh, he is in there.
Oh, yeah. Obama's there. They're all there. So the point is, you've read about it. You've been watching on the news. They're talking about, will January 6th people be able to do this? Will the people who tried to steal the election do this? Yada, yada, on and on and on. Well, the reason it's relevant here is because the DOJ announced that, as you've heard us talk about ad nauseum on this podcast, the 23 people who were convicted on federal charges of the FACE Act for harassing, harming, and breaking into abortion clinics qualify for restitution from this fund because they were weaponized, apparently. Moji. Apparently the jury
of their peers,
they were all Joe Biden.
Mm-hmm. They were all Joe Biden, and
they were all Biden family members.
Biden clones, Biden and Obama, just doing the thing that they could do to fuck with these people who do real harm. This is so enraging, Liz.
So there's 23 of them that were convicted. Trump pardoned them all.
I feel like the pardon was offensive enough, right? Like when we heard about the pardon, I was like, this is fucking unfair. But also like, okay, I don't really believe in jail. So all right, I can deal with that. But give them money for the harm they caused?
We should do a fake lawyer ad. Like, are you a person causing harm who's been harmed? You deserve money.
Yes.
But so honestly, what this means is if they can file for damages, right, for being harmed and they get money, what they're going to do is use that money to invest in ways that they can further escalate their violence.
Top that with Congress trying to strip abortion protections from the FACE Act.
The FACE Act covers two things. It covers houses of worship and abortion clinics. And what they want to do is remove abortion clinic protections so that the only people who are protected by anybody protesting is any kind of house of worship. So great.
And then they'll have this slush fund and they can do damage, and clinics can't do anything because the DOJ refuses to prosecute anything that has to do with defacing or attacking anyone in an abortion clinic. This is great.
In fact, the DOJ vowed any case that came before them that was a FACE charge from a clinic, they were just not going to prosecute. And the existing ones before Trump took office that were awaiting, those went away also. So the bottom line is this $1.776 billion fund is literally a government-funded violence creation program. That's it. And we should be outraged. So I know that 2 DC police officers are suing.
2 who were harmed during January 6th. Yes.
Yeah. And so we'll see if this fund actually makes it to where it needs to go. But I don't know. This is really, I have not heard a single person, Moji, I don't know about you, that hasn't said that this fund is the worst thing that this presidency has done and that it is absolutely an impeachable offense. But we'll see what happens with the lame-o Congress.
I have definitely not heard anyone who didn't say that this fund is absolutely taxpayer theft.
Right.
Bald face, naked taxpayer theft.
We covered a lot of stories.
Whew, terrible ones. We had no good stories this week, Liz.
Woof-tastic did not. But for your enjoyment and to get all of the deets that we didn't cover, like always, these stories will be in the show notes. And so I would say go read them, see what's going on. And always just a reminder, if you're looking for the most up-to-the-minute resources on accessing abortion care and funding for your care, hit up our friends over at abortionfinder.org.
We do this show because this information is not given enough attention in the media. And you can help us spread the word and show us some love by liking, subscribing, and of course, giving us a 5-star rating. Every single bit helps us reach more listeners, and we need you.
We do need you. Let's take a minute and have some fun, shall we?
Another deep breath. Is this another moment for another deep breath, Liz? I'm ready.
I feel like yoga breathing doesn't really work on a podcast, but you can do, silence is deadly, as they say. It's time for a little bit of fun. And that fun means it's the party game that is faster than Monopoly, more fun than Taboo. It's 6 Degrees of Abortion. This is when Moji takes a story from the news, and I have 6 chances to link it to abortion. Let's see if she can stump me this week.
Quinta Brunson of Abbott Elementary fame is in talks to develop a show about Betty Boop of Boop Boop Doop.
Oh, fun.
Doesn't that seem fun? I feel like she would do such a good job with Betty Boop. And so you have 6 chances in this moment to link Betty Boop to abortion, dortion. That was terrible. Abortion.
Well, you've linked Betty Boop to Quinta Brunson.
Sure did.
And I can link Quinta Brunson to Janelle James.
Love her.
Who is a comedian that has done work with Abortion Access Front in the past. In fact, we worked together in LA. We were trying to do a Trap House Lindsey Graham music video. That never came to be.
Oh my gosh, I would have loved that.
But we tried desperately. So Betty Boop to Quinta Brunson to Janelle James to Abortion Access Front to abortion.
Woo! Go Liz.
There it is.
Done. Nice. I didn't know any of that. We have Janelle James is a friend of the pod.
Janelle James is a friend of the pod. It is true.
Well done, Liz. And this, you did it without Moji even making a strange little gasp.
I did. So, Moji, let's take a dive through the bowels of the internet, doing that misogynistic colonoscopy that finds the worst take from the internet.
Sure.
This one comes from a broadcaster named Brian Atlas, who is known for being a broadcaster, basically. Let's get his hot take on what leads to divorce.
If If you actually look at the birth control usage rates and divorce rates, they actually perfectly coincide with like a 3-year delay. It is perfectly coincided. If you look at divorce rates in America from like 1960 to modern day to birth control rates from 1960 to modern day, perfectly coincides with it. And so, yeah, birth control changes the type of man that you find attractive. So when you get on it or off of it while you're with a guy or married to him, there's a really likely chance that you will not find him attractive anymore. And that's the main reason why the majority of divorces are initiated by women nowadays.
What?
I mean, I think the majority of divorces initiated by women are because they're married to men. First of all,
1000%.
I've heard this theory before. There was a guy running for Senate in Minnesota who made the same claim that like women like soft men, or what do they call them? They call them
but not betas. They call them soy boys.
Soy boys. Yeah, we like soy boys because we like birth control. And here's the deal. Every married couple that I know that has kids, when they have a manageable amount of kids, their sex life is normally better and they're not looking for a divorce. They feel so thankful that they're not stressing out every time they're fucking about whether or not they're going to have another kid to bring into the world. So I think all of these men are just constantly trying to blame their uselessness.
Basically anything besides going to therapy. Literally anything. Also, that was a word salad, Liz. That was a word salad. He was talking, the women around him were bored as fuck. What was he talking about?
I mean, he has the most divorceable face and divorceable attitude I've ever seen. It's like, dude, here's the deal. You're the problem.
There's really nothing I can add on to that.
I just sometimes like people to know that this shit's out there in the world and that this is like this whole big correlation between women on birth control and the divorce rates. And it's like, wait, I am free to leave this asshole because I have used birth control and I'm not saddled to him for any reason. Oh, yeah. I'm gone.
That's exactly what I was thinking when he was talking, like, oh, what you're expecting is desperation.
Yeah, yeah.
And when a woman doesn't have desperation, she can have discernment.
That's
and
right.
then she can discern herself out of a place that she doesn't need to be, which is with a man who is clearly not serving her well.
Which is a very inconvenient argument for somebody who is wholly unfuckable, wholly you don't want to be latched to that wagon. So sorry, buddy. And also, thanks, birth control.
Thanks, birth control.
Oh my God. And thanks, listeners. That's our show.
Woohoo!
Thanks, birth control. Thanks, listeners.
Liz, we did good. Did we make you smarter? Did we make you laugh today? If we did, and I know we did because we are Lizz and Moji, why don't you show us some love by liking, subscribing, and giving us a 5-star rating?
5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, sorry. I'm trying singing today unsuccessfully. And if you really want to go extra, if you want to just take that extra mile, go to 6 perhaps, join our Patreon. You'll support great content. You'll get great merch. You'll get fun experiences. You'll get that birthday shout out that you missed in the top of the show. You'll get that when you join our Patreon.
That's right.
And all pledges support this pod and every single thing we do at Abortion Access Front. So just go pledge. Patreon.com, Feminist Buzzkills.
Plus, Abortion Access Front brings you the news and info every single day. So the other 6 days that you don't have a live podcast for you to listen to, you can go to our socials at Abortion Front and keep up to date across all platforms. Where, Moji, also?
Even on Bluesky. And you know, this week, you could have seen pictures of all of us as little bitty children.
Oh, so that's worth a go-see to
so
go
cute.
Follow us on Instagram. They really did a fun job showing all of us as youngins before we were hardened misandrists.
Yes.
God bless us.
And now that we've got you informed, why don't you get activated? Just do it. You can check out our awesome Operation Safe Abortion trainings, and that can be found at operationsafeabortion.com. You go there, get your abortion activist glow up, and learn about all of the ways that abortion providers, patients, funds need your help.
They do. And while you're there, poke around our cool activist calendar. It is full of local and national actions, educational opportunities, so you can dive in right now and get to work. Again, all of that amazingness is at operationsafeabortion.com.
But wait, there's more.
There is?
Yes, you can sign up to volunteer.
Oh.
We need you. You go to our website, aafront.org, you fill out the volunteer form, and then we can figure it out together.
That's right. Now, look, we're going to be off for the next couple of weeks because we are collecting abortion stories and doing outreach and doing a massive amount of work trying to connect with community. So again, if you want to share your abortion story safely, privately, anonymously, you can go to miffystories.com.
The Feminist Buzzkills podcast is edited and produced by Remy de Tournay and Jin Moon for Abortion Access Front. Have a great Memorial Day weekend.
That's right. Have a great Memorial Day weekend. And remember, it was Black folks that really started Memorial Day.
Feminist Buzzkills, the podcast from Abortion Access Front. New episodes drop Friday. When BS is poppin', we pop off. And if you want to support our podcast and all the work of Abortion Access Front, like, subscribe, and join our Patreon at patreon.com/feministbuzzkills.